49 degrees right now. Who's watching your wallet? Drew Blazsik is watching your wallet, and he joins us for Faith and Finance, as he always does on Fridays. Always great to have Drew along in studio. How you doing there, Drew?
Doing good. Me and my daughter went to Cedar Point yesterday.
Oh, did you ride the new big coaster, the tallest thing in the world?
It was wet, rainy, and windy, so everything
right.
was like shut down besides rain in her face.
That thing is much taller than our radio towers.
Yes, it's pretty tall.
It's like 400 and some feet.
My goodness.
It's pretty tall.
Wow.
Drew, last week, for weeks from that, in the last weeks, we've been talking about these practical things about how our economy has kind of gone south in the wrong directions. We said at the end of last week's program, we'd come forward with some practical ways that we, the followers of the teachings of the church, might move things forward in a more positive way.
So I got two things here. Number one is, what can Catholics do? I think what we should do is we should invest our businesses and our money into real things. We have created a casino, Vegas-like finance system where we can gamble on. We could buy insurance plans on if people fail their mortgages, right? That's like buying insurance plans on someone's health and they get cancer and we benefit from it. Right. So we need to invest in real things. Like, for example, for savings, you get precious metals. Reduce your debt is very important. We need to take care of that. Our credit cards, number one. Societal level, get rid of the monetary system we talked about before. There could be reasonable debate on which system that we use. We want an economy that's built on real things. So rather than things built out of thin air. And we'll take this back to usury in a second. And go about loans and interest, but how it affects the spiritual life. So we need to build it on this. Number one is food and agriculture. Number two, the industrial arts, like buildings and homes. And then number three should be finance. And finance is the oil that keeps things running. But in our inverted culture, we have finance number one, and then we got like food and the other things that should be number one importance for society, and we put that behind finance. So we're more of a gambling. And finance doesn't create anything.
Right.
It's not the engine. It just helps make it go smoother. Right? It doesn't create real wealth. And then I want to talk about this. Lending on interest plays on a weird human intuition. It's really interesting. What I have now will be less in the future. It is really important to get as much as you can now as money and spend it. If I can get as much as I can, the lenders will lend it to me, and let's get the deal done, right? So Plato had a concept where he said, when I get money from a loan now, it will be worth less in the future, so spend it now. So what he is saying, it creates a type of thinking, epistemology, the use of money now on things that will depreciate in the future less. So that's the mindset that we have. We need to get money, spend it today on something that money doesn't depreciate as quick. So lending will encourage a type of epistemology of seeing your immediate moment, the now. So this goes into our thinking. I don't want kids now because they depreciate, don't have a baby now, and subject my wife to a devalued future.
Wow.
Right?
Yeah, right.
Don't do the hard things now, do it later. But if you can get that Tesla, that car, I need that loan and take the deal now, creates immediacy in the moment, values immediate wealth. The loan does on interest.
Wow, so true.
Money devalues, loans are about now, creates a mindset of the present. It creates a never-ending chain of immediacy, a spending mentality. Now, a spending mentality, however, will destroy the spiritual life. Societies that value the next world have an infinite value. So that a Tesla's not infinite. And if you always value it today, it's not infinite. So some things will appreciate because it makes you struggle.
Right.
Right? So children appreciate because they are part of our salvation. It makes you stronger, makes you better, and it makes you a better person. And you're adding citizens to the kingdom of heaven.
And it always strikes me, Drew, because you talk to a couple who has built a life and they bought a house and they've raised a family, and you ask them about their happiest years, and they'll almost always point to the years that they struggled.
Oh, yeah.
And they
Yeah,
say, well, what do you
right.
want for your children? No struggle. And I'm like, well, how does that make sense?
Yeah.
I thought you just said the happiest years is when you struggle, but you don't want that for your children. It's necessary for the maturation process.
So it's like our appreciation should be towards heaven, not the immediate now, which loans in our society and usury does. So what do we want some things now? Because we know it is a type of appreciation that leads us to heaven. So my final words are that kind of appreciation is inconsistent with the epistemology of the thinking of the lender, which creates now immediacy. I want it today rather than looking towards heaven.
Amen. Good points. Wow. And
More to
just
talk
solved the
about
world
next Friday.
problems right there.
Hey, I'm going to bring up a very sensitive topic
Except
for next Friday. I'm going to ask you to think about this. Now, we know the reverse of that, or the opposite side of that, is putting money into endowments and things like that. I think that kind of points to the idea that we don't think we're going to have enough money in the future. Aren't we going to have people remaining, continuing
good
to,
point.
instead of investing that money in the now and giving it to the people who need it at the moment?
Amen.
Agreed. Yeah.
Just asking.
Hey, we'll be
Just
right
wondering.
back. Thank you, Drew Blazsik.
Thank you.